Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kiki Levy, and I am the Administrative Specialist at Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple Small Business Development Center helps small businesses start and grow. We provide one-on-one counseling services at a variety of low to no cost webinars. And today you have joined us for our WordPress website series, How to Get Started with WordPress. A copy of today's PowerPoint along with other materials will be sent out to all the attendees in 3 to 5 business days after the event. We encourage you all to post any questions you may have in the Q&A. Please do not post questions in the chat. Just to let everyone know, you have been muted. All the attendees for today's webinar have been muted. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to get those in the Q&A. I have the pleasure of introducing you all to Barbara Delicio. My apologies, Barbara, if I pronounced that incorrectly, but Barbara, if you want, the floor is yours, and I'm gonna allow you to take it away now.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to get started with this 3-part series on making a WordPress website. Part 1 is going to be really how to get started with WordPress. And if you're a small business owner, you know having a website is really important, especially in the times that we're in right now where everybody is doing tasks online. So we want to have a great website to promote our business and make it easy for us to market ourselves. So that's what this series is going to be all about. We're going to, by the end of the 3-part series, have a fully functioning website that we can manage ourselves. So a little bit more about me. My name is Barbara Delicio, and I am the co-owner of Wiki Design. Wiki Design is a branding and website design agency that's located just outside of Philadelphia. And I have 20 years of experience with branding and website design. I've done a lot of different things throughout my career. I've worked with many small businesses. I worked at several advertising agencies, and I even worked at a company that produced gold and silver bars. So I've done a lot of different things in my career. But 7 years ago, I quit my 9-to-5 job to pursue full-time entrepreneurship, and I've been running Wiki Design ever since. I am married to my business partner. His name is Mark, and he handles more of the technical side of things. So the servers and updating our client websites and the development stuff, and I handle more of the design side of things. And this relationship works really well because we can do the things that the other person doesn't like to do. Together, we've helped hundreds of small business owners create WordPress websites that they can easily manage. So a big part of our business is building the foundation for small business owners to then grow their business online. And in this series, we're going to go behind the scenes of the process that Wiki Design uses to create a website. So you'll learn the exact tools that I use, the companies, the platforms that we use to build websites. And by the end of it, you will have a website for yourself. We're going to learn a lot in this series, but what we're going to learn today is really how to get started. And that is how to register a domain name, how to purchase website hosting, how to get the WordPress framework set up. We're going to go over the WordPress dashboard and all of the buttons that are included in WordPress. We're going to go over WordPress themes and WordPress plugins. So what is WordPress? WordPress is an open source content management system, or CMS for short. Open source means that there are a lot of different people contributing to the WordPress platform from all over the world. So they contribute in different ways. Some people develop and help build the WordPress framework, so they make updates to it and make it better. Then there's some people that design and develop themes for WordPress that you can use to create websites. And there's other people that develop plugins or add-ons that you can install on a WordPress website to do different things. So there's a lot of different people contributing to this platform. WordPress started in 2003. And in tech years, that is a really long time. WordPress has been around for a really long time. And it started out originally as a blogging platform. So people would sign up for a WordPress website if they wanted to start a blog or an online journal. But over time, WordPress has really developed into what it is today, which is a platform that 40% of all websites are on. So think about all the websites around the world that are on the internet, 40% of them use WordPress. So that's a huge number. And that's a number that is growing every day. And every year they come out with the statistics on how many people use WordPress, and the number is just going up and up. So WordPress isn't going anywhere anytime soon, which is why I think it's a really great solution for small business owners. It allows really for no limitations, because it being an open source platform, you can do anything. Some of the closed source platforms for building websites, such as a Squarespace, a Wix, or a Weebly, only allow you to do what is available inside their box. But with WordPress, since it's open source and there's tons of people contributing to the platform, you can do really whatever you want. So you can start out with a small basic website, and then over time, grow it into an e-commerce platform, an online learning center. You can host videos. You can really do anything with WordPress. It really allows for a lot of expansion. And I think that's a really important thing. If you're trying to grow your business online, you need to be able to easily expand upon your website. And WordPress really allows you to do that. The possibilities with what you can do really are endless, because there's tons of different developers that can do something that's completely unique to you. Another reason, sorry about that. Another reason that I think WordPress is really great is that they have a really robust community. There are tons of people that are using WordPress, and WordPress does a really good job of connecting people through what they call WordCamps. And if you are a WordPress user, I highly recommend going to a WordCamp. They happen all over the place. There are WordCamps that are in Philadelphia that I've attended that are really great. And they have one in Lancaster that I've attended that's also a really good one. And they have them on a US scale and an international scale as well. So the picture that you see in this slide is from WordCamp Nashville a few years ago. And we actually met some developers there that we've become friends with over the years. So you really do have a sense of community, and there's people on every level that attend WordCamp. So people that have been making websites for years on WordPress, and people that are just starting out, and they really do help each other, and you can get a lot of great information from these WordCamps. There's also a lot of online forums where you can educate yourself or get help that you need regarding WordPress and WordPress plugins and themes. There's tons of educational content available online for free as well. So you can go find a lot of that on YouTube, on different forums, all different places. So there's tons of support around the WordPress platform as well. Because so many people use it, you can really find somebody that will help you get what you need. So these are all the reasons that I really recommend using WordPress for a small business website. So what do we need to get started with WordPress? Well, the first thing that we're going to need is a domain name. Now, a domain name is your address. So for example, google.com, that is a domain name. Now, there are lots of different extensions that you can use for a domain name. You can use .net, .co, .biz, .org are more for nonprofit organizations, .edu is for educational organizations. The list goes on. There's tons of different domain extensions. .com is probably the one that you're most familiar with, though. The cost will definitely vary for your domain name, but usually it's around $15 per year to register. Now, after you purchase your domain name, you're going to need to purchase website hosting. This is where all of your site files live. So your database, your images, your content, that all lives on a server. And the prices for website hosting really depend on the amount of traffic that your website gets and the size of your website. So if you have a really big website that gets a lot of traffic, you're going to pay more than somebody that's just starting out. But if you're just starting out, you can usually get really good hosting for WordPress around $6 a month. Now, I'm the type of person that likes to keep everything in one place. So I don't like to have passwords all over the place and have to know where I registered one thing and have to keep track of everything. So I like having everything in one spot. So if you're at a point where you need to register a domain name and purchase hosting, you haven't done that already, the company that I recommend using for this is KnownHost. This is who we use at WikiDesign to host our website, and it's who we use for all of our client websites as well. We've been using them for years, and I can't say enough good things about this hosting company. They offer really fantastic support, and the pricing is really affordable. Their WordPress hosting starts at $5.98 a month. It's really easy to set up as well. So one of the things that you have to do with a WordPress website is actually install the WordPress framework. And WordPress has this famous 5-minute installation, and it is pretty easy to do. But with KnownHost, if you sign up for WordPress hosting, they handle that all for you. So it's one less thing that you have to worry about. And they offer backups and SSL within their platform. So backups are really important because just like anything, we want to make sure that we're saving our website just in case something ever happens and we need to go back to a restore point. SSL is another really important thing, especially nowadays, because this is something that Google will actually mark you down for if you don't have. So SSL is that little green lock that you see in your browser, and a website that starts with HTTPS. That means it's secure. If you don't have that, Google will actually ding you a couple points in ranking. So this is a really important thing to have. Now, a lot of hosting companies charge for this, but KnownHost doesn't charge. This is included within their service. So again, if you are at the point where you need to register a WordPress website and get hosting and everything set up, I recommend doing it through KnownHost. So now that we've talked about all of that, I want to talk about what you're going to see after you install a WordPress website. So we're going to go over the WordPress dashboard. There's a lot of different buttons when you log into your WordPress website. We're just going to go through things one by one. The first thing that we're going to go over are posts. So posts are where your blog lives. So if you have a blog on your website, you will put your posts in here. You will add new posts. And posts are cool because they can be categorized. So you can write about different topics, and then you can sort through those topics with categories, and then people can go to your website and find information on a specific topic. Posts also allow for interaction. So you can have comments enabled on your blog post and allow people to interact on your website that way. And this is something that you can turn on and off in WordPress. They are also published in chronological order. When you put a new post on your website, it is dated, and there will be a feed that gets posted onto your website blog in chronological order. The next thing is media. Media is where all of your image files live. So anything that you use as an image on your website will be uploaded here. Any documents, PDFs that you want to upload for downloads, things like that are all uploaded here as well. And the cool thing about media is that if you are adding a new post to your site or adding a new page, you can bulk upload here. So you can upload all the images or any documents that you want on that page in one shot, and then go and create the page, and all your images will be there. And they also offer a format that's in grid or list. So this image right here is the grid format. List format just kind of shows everything as a name in a list. It really depends on your personal preference, how you use it. But that is the media area. And the next thing is pages. Pages really are where your site lives. So a page would be like a home page, an about page, and a contact page. Pages don't have a publish date, so you can create 100 pages on your website and they're not going to be published in any order. They're ordered by how you decide the navigation of your website is going to be. So now that we talked about pages, the next thing that we're going to talk about is comments. So I talked a little bit about comments regarding the posts, but if you do decide to have a blog with comments on your website, you can actually manage all of the comments through the WordPress dashboard. So whenever anybody adds a comment to your website, you can then go into the WordPress dashboard and reply to that comment through here. The next thing is appearance. Appearance is a pretty big part of the WordPress dashboard. This is where your look and feel will happen. So, and it's kind of a little buggy, sorry guys. So again, the appearance is where the look and feel happens. So we're going to be making some decisions as far as like what our logo will look like, the colors and menus and themes. This is all happening in the WordPress dashboard under appearance. So moving forward with the actual design, we're not going to mess with this too much because we're actually going to be using a plugin that handles a lot of this, but this is an important part of the WordPress system. Now, I did mention that in appearance is where you set your theme. So themes are required as of right now for WordPress to work. And the default theme is installed automatically when you install the WordPress framework. And the default theme will be dependent on what year we're in. So right now we're in 2021. So it's the 2021 theme is the default WordPress theme. And every year they release a new one. Now, it's my personal opinion that WordPress is going to move away from themes in the future because for the past 3-4 years, they have been working on what they call their Gutenberg editor. And Gutenberg is a drag and drop builder that they're building for WordPress. And I see more and more focus on that and less focus on theme development. So I do think that in the future, themes are going to be kind of a thing of the past. But as of right now, themes are required for WordPress to work. And the theme that we're going to be installing in this series is called the Hello theme. The Hello theme is a pretty simple, easy to use theme. It's made by the company Elementor, and it's a free theme to use. And it really has no bloat or anything that is extra. And that is because we are going to be using a page builder to build out our website. A drag and drop visual editor is what a page builder is. So we don't need to have a lot of functionality. And you can actually go into WordPress and install this theme right now for free. And I'm going to show you how you do that. So you go through to appearance and you'll go to themes. You'll click add new, and then you'll just search for hello. And you can see there's a lot of themes available for free. Once you found that theme, you just hit install. It takes a few seconds to install the theme. And then you'll hit activate. And you can see now the active theme on your website is hello. So that's what we're going to be using for our theme on our website. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about are plugins. Plugins are really important for WordPress because they add a lot of functionality to a WordPress website. Plugins do a lot of different things. There's plugins for social media sharing, for WooCommerce, which is an online store platform. There's tons of different plugins that do tons of different things, and they are made by WordPress developers. So people that are contributing to WordPress develop these plugins. Some plugins are free and some plugins you do have to pay for. And then there's some that are kind of a combination of both. So they'll have a free version and then they'll have some upgrades that you can make to add some additional functionality. Installing a plugin is very similar to installing a theme. So you will go to plugins and then hit add new. And if it is a free plugin, you will search for the plugin that you're looking to install, and then you will have that plugin come up. So I'm going to install the Yoast SEO plugin on this site. So I just click install, and then it takes a couple seconds for the plugin to actually install, and you'll just hit activate. Now, if you do pay for a plugin, you'll have to download files from the plugin website. And it's very similar to install a paid plugin. You just go to add new, but instead of actually searching for it, you will just upload the zip file that they give you and then just go through that process of installing it that way. So it's very simple to install themes and plugins on a WordPress website. But I do want to go over an important thing about plugins, because not all plugins are created equally. And when you are looking to install a plugin on your website, there are 4 things that I recommend you pay attention to. The first thing is downloads. So if we look at this example, this first example for this plugin has 1 million active installs. So 1 million people have downloaded this plugin. That seems to be like a pretty well vetted plugin. It also has a lot of really good reviews, almost completely 5 stars. So that's something that you want to look at as well, because if people are saying that it doesn't work the way that it should work and it's causing problems, and there's a ton of people saying that, that might mean that it's not the best plugin to install on your website, and it could cause you problems too. You also want to look when the plugin was last updated. So you can see that we have, hello? Sorry. I think I just lost connection. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry. I thought I just like flickered for a second. I'm sorry about that. So where were we at? We were on last updated, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you do want to make sure that a plugin is updated frequently, because if something is not updated within a few months, that could mean that there's compatibility issues with the plugin. So if there's compatibility issues, that means that things might not work the way that they should work. So WordPress gets updated all the time. They're always changing things, they're always making updates for security. So you want to make sure that your plugins that you have installed on your site are keeping up with those updates. And you can check to see when a plugin was last updated in the plugin repository. It will let you know. And then you can say, okay, if it was updated within a few months, that's probably a good plugin to install. The 4th thing when it comes to plugins is support. And this is really for more of the paid plugins, because if you're paying for something, they generally offer some level of support. And that can be in the form of a ticket system, where if you have a problem, you can submit a ticket to the developers and they'll help you. It also could be in an online forum or some videos and stuff like that. So you just want to make sure before you buy the plugin that you're getting some level of support. It might be support for 6 months, and that can kind of walk you through if you do have any issues. And if there is support that is available, you want to make sure that you can renew that support in the future if you do need it. So if the support is only good for 6 months, is there an option to pay for additional support? These are things that you want to pay attention to. Now that we've gone over what to look for in a plugin, these are some plugins that I recommend installing on a WordPress website. These are plugins that we install on all of our websites for our clients. So the first one is a security plugin. Security plugins will protect you from hack attempts, from viruses, and from malware. These are important things that we want to make sure we don't have on our website. And the plugin that we recommend for all of our clients is WordFence. I love WordFence because it's free and they do a fantastic job of keeping your site secure. If WordFence sees any potential vulnerabilities on your website, they will email you. And they're fantastic with this because there are times where you do run into issues and they will let you know before that issue turns into a bigger problem. So I definitely recommend WordFence as a security plugin. We also always install a backup plugin on every website. I did mention that Known Host has their own backups on a server level, but we also recommend installing a backup plugin on your site, just to have two. Two is better than one when it comes to backups. The plugin that we install is Backup WP. This is a really great plugin because it allows you to save your website to a Google Drive or Dropbox folder, and you can set it up and forget about it. So you do it once, you set up a schedule for your backups, and then it just happens automatically every day. So I highly recommend installing this plugin as well. Another plugin I recommend is Yoast SEO. This is an SEO plugin, so this will allow you to add keywords to your titles, your images, your product pages. It makes it just a little bit easier to do some of those on-page SEO tasks. And Yoast is probably the most popular SEO plugin out there. And the last plugin that I recommend, and what we're going to be using to build out our website, is the plugin called Elementor. I talked a little bit about Elementor when I talked about the theme, because they actually develop the theme that we're using on our website. But Elementor is a drag and drop page builder. So it's a visual editor, and you can use this to build out any aspect of your website. So the header, the footer, all the pages, any product pages, really any page of your website can be built using Elementor. And it's what we use for all of our client websites. It is used by over 5 million people, so it's very well supported, and they are constantly adding new features to the platform. There's really great marketing features available as well, which are really important for small businesses. Things like MailChimp and CRM integration are all part of Elementor. You can design pop-up windows, you can design blog templates, product page templates, really anything that you want. As far as marketing, you can do within Elementor. And if it's not available, they actually have some functionality where you can custom code it into the platform. So it's very versatile, and it works with any type of site. So if you are just starting out and just need a basic website, it will work great for you. But if you have some more advanced functionality, you can do that too. It's very versatile. Elementor does have a free version, and I recommend installing that, going into the plugin repository, searching Elementor, and installing and activating it, so you can get a feel for how it works, and you can see what the editor does. It gives you a lot of different features in the free version, but for this webinar, we are going to need to get the personal license. So that's $49 a year for one site, and it's really worth the money. You get all the pro widgets available. So things like form creation, pop-up windows, all of that is available where it's not available in the free version. And then you also get templates. So if you're not a designer, templates are really nice because they're designed by website designers for the Elementor platform. And you can actually use this to design and build your entire website from scratch. So you just install this template onto your website, change things out as far as the colors, the images, and the text, and then you have a really beautiful website. Now, templates alone can cost $49, so you're getting a bunch of different templates and all the other features as well. So it's really worth the price. Okay, so now that we've talked about Elementor and the page builder that we're going to be using moving forward in this series, I want to talk more about the last things in the WordPress dashboard, and that is users. That's what's up next. And users can perform different tasks. So this is really great if you have a team that you want to make updates to your website. You can create different users profiles for them, and they can log in, and then people aren't stepping on each other in terms of editing. You can have a variety of different writers. If you have a blog, you can have people just go in and create different pages and stuff for you. And the role that you give people will really depend on what level of access you want. So an administrator has full access to the site. So everything that I've been showing you on the WordPress dashboard is what an administrator would see. But if you want to just have somebody add post to your site, you can make them a contributor or an editor, and they just have access to that specific area. So roles really are a nice way to kind of give more control or less control depending on the person. And a cool thing about roles as well regarding e-commerce is that they allow for customer profiles. So if you ever shopped online, you know that a lot of times you can create a account on a website, and then you can go back and log in and all your information is in there. So if you have an e-commerce website and somebody creates an account on the website, their user profile will be under users. So it's a pretty cool feature. The next thing that we're going to talk about are tools. Now, the tools are more of like the management tasks regarding your WordPress website. So these are things that you might not be doing all of the time, but if you do need to export content or customer information, stuff like that, you would do that here. You can also import information using the tools bar as well. So this is where all of that stuff lies. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about regarding the WordPress dashboard is settings. So settings is the overall website settings. So things like your site title and your tagline and things like that. This is stuff that you probably won't have to make tons of adjustments to, especially since we are going to be using the Elementor page builder to build your website. You probably won't have to do a lot in here, but if you do want to turn comments often on your website, you would do this under the settings and the discussion tab. That's where that lies. And image sizes is another thing, especially for e-commerce websites where you might have to go in and change the size of your images for like your product gallery and stuff like that. So that's where all that information is in the WordPress dashboard. I know the WordPress dashboard is a lot, and I went over a lot of different things. So I wanted to give you some additional resources. One of the biggest resources for me personally is YouTube. I use YouTube a lot just to learn about different things regarding WordPress, website design, or Elementor. I highly recommend it if you just want to get more information or learn how to do something. I do have a YouTube channel. YouTube.com/WikiDesign is my YouTube channel. We talk a lot about WordPress, Elementor page builder, website design in general, and some business tips. So we upload twice a week. If you want to check that out, you can go there and get some more information. I also have a website, wikidesign.com, with a lot of resources as well. Feel free to contact me through there. You can fill out the contact form if you want to talk one-on-one. I'm happy to do that. And if you are on Facebook, there are a few Facebook groups that I can recommend. WordPress for Beginners is a good one. They have about 25,000 members. And if you are interested in learning more about WordPress or meeting people that use the platform, just want to connect, that's a great resource. Another great Facebook group is the Elementor community. There is over 100,000 members in this Facebook group, and it's wonderful for getting support. If you have a question about something, there's somebody in there that will be able to help you. They also talk a lot about the newest updates and releases. So it's another good place to go if you're looking for additional help with website design. And that is the end of this presentation, this part one. I know people probably have questions, so I'm just going to open it up to the Q&A.
That was quick and a great presentation. Very informative, Barbara. Thank you so much. Just one request. We have a participant by the name of Laura, and she was having problems finding the hello theme. I believe it was under the dashboard section of the WordPress. Would you be able to maybe go back and kind of explain how you were able to pull up that hello theme for Laura? And then we'll jump into the Q&A.
Yeah, so actually, I should be able to, so you can actually download, if you just Google hello by Elementor, if you go to the Elementor website, you can download the actual theme. So that might be easier than searching for it. Sometimes the WordPress theme repository doesn't always update. So if you ever can't find it under just going to themes and then searching for it, you can always just download it. The URL is elementor.com/hello-theme, and then you can just download it there. It's totally free, and then you can install it on your WordPress website. So hopefully that helped.
I think that was very helpful, Barbara. Thank you. It looks like we got one more comment in the chat from Ruda. And for all the participants, could you please post your questions in the Q&A? That will be very helpful. Ruda would like to know, there are several Facebook pages under the same name, but none with 25K followers. I believe this is in reference to your particular, maybe Facebook page. Ruda, if you could.
The WordPress, the WordPress one. So there, you'll get a download of the presentation, and I did link that in here. It's called WordPress for Beginners. So I guess it's facebook.com/group/WP Beginners Help is the one with almost 25,000.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Barbara, for actually just showing that to our participants here. We hope that was very helpful for you all. We will hop into Q&A at this time, but before we get into Q&A, I'm posting a quick link in the chat for where you can fill out our 1-minute Q&A, well, our 1-minute survey, so we can continue to provide these webinars to you all at no cost. So again, go ahead, throw your questions in the chat, and then we will begin from the beginning. I have some yelling going outside of my window, so please forgive any noise you hear in the background. Okay, so the first question is from Sue. She would like to know, are there problems to be aware of because it's open source, so many developers are contributing?
So yes and no. I think really you have to just be aware of what you're installing. And that's why I went over the plugins and making sure that you're installing plugins that are really vetted and well downloaded. Because if you are installing something that is not well supported, the developer kind of abandons the project and they don't want to support it, then you can run into those issues. And that's really where you have issues a lot of the time with like the open source stuff, is that people do sometimes abandon their plugins, but if you install plugins and stuff that's really well supported and there's a team behind them, you don't really have to worry about that.
Awesome. Michelle, she would like to know, I have already purchased my URL via GoDaddy. Do these recommended plugins work with that host as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Malcolm would like to know, is Avada a pull-up or drop theme? AVADA?
Yeah, so Avada is what it's called, and Avada is a pretty popular WordPress theme. You can use Avada with Elementor. I don't recommend paying for it because I think you can do everything that you need to do with the Hello theme, and that's free. But you can definitely use it if you've already purchased Avada and have it installed. You can use Elementor with the Avada theme. You can use it with a lot of different themes.
Awesome. Carl would like to know, what was the pricing for the Elementor?
$49 a year for one site. And then they have different levels available depending on how many sites and stuff you have. But if you're just using it for one site, it's $49 a year.
Awesome. And Elizabeth would like to know, can you change a theme after a website is already built?
Yes, you can change your theme. There might be some issues depending on the theme that you're using though. So themes work in different ways. So if you're using a specific theme that uses, for example, like short codes or something where it's not necessarily compatible with like the Elementor page builder, you might run into issues, but for the most part, you can switch themes around however many times you want. And there's tons of different themes available. I just really wanted to keep this simple, and for people that are like completely starting out, this is a good kind of path to go on. But if you already have a theme installed on your website and you want to make the switch or use Elementor, you should be able to do that.
Awesome. Veronica would like to know, if you use a template on Elementor, do you have to pay the yearly fee each year to keep that template?
No, so what you're paying for with Elementor is just the actual builder and everything that's into it. And what's really cool about it is they are adding new templates all the time. So you will install it, and then a month from now, you'll get additional templates and stuff, but you don't have to pay for the individual template. You're paying for the entire page builder and everything that's included.
Okay. Elizabeth would like to know, if my site wasn't built with Elementor, can I change the page builder on a site that is already published?
What was that question again? I'm sorry.
So pretty much if the site wasn't created with the Elementor plugin, would they be able to change their page builder that is already published?
It really depends on the page builder. If you're using a different page builder, it might not be compatible with the way Elementor works. You can definitely change it. It just might have to do a little bit of work.
Okay. Next question, let's see. Tracy would like to know, can I integrate my Shopify store into WordPress site easily? And is the Hello theme best for online boutiques?
So Shopify is a completely different platform. It does not work with WordPress, so you won't be able to integrate WordPress into Shopify. It's a completely separate platform. If you wanted to build an e-commerce store with WordPress, you would have to use what is called the WooCommerce extension. That is the online shopping platform for WordPress.
All right. And then real quickly, we got a few questions in regards to the recording and the slide deck. Just to let everyone know, the recording and the slide deck will be sent out to you 3 to 5 business days after this presentation. So yes, you will get a copy of the recording and the slide deck. All right, let's hop into another question here. In the next 2 sessions, will you teach the e-commerce feature, example, list of your products / shopping cart?
I was not planning on going into the e-commerce realm, but there are things that I'm going to be talking about that will apply to the design of an e-commerce store. So when we get into the Elementor builder, we're going to go over templates and stuff like that. But e-commerce is really a whole different lane of website design. I'm just going to focus on basically building out a very simple, like 5-page website for a small business.
All righty. Is Divi a useful plugin?
So I have used Divi in the past. Divi is another page builder. So it's like Elementor. I don't think that it has nearly as much functionality as Elementor. And that's why I abandoned it a few years ago, because Elementor just offers a lot more functionality. I know a lot of people that use the Divi theme. It's a really well-supported theme and page builder. So if you're using that, I would say, you know, as long as it's working for you, move forward with it. But if you are looking to do some more advanced functionality, you can really do that with Elementor.
All righty. Elizabeth would like to know, I didn't build my website. How can I find out what page builder was used?
So if it's a WordPress website, you can go in and look at the plugins and stuff. And if there is a page builder on the site, it will let you know under plugins. If you're asking if it was built on WordPress, I think if you Google what is my site built on, there's a site where you can put in any URL and it will tell you what platform the website is built on. And so you can do it that way as well.
Awesome. Someone I spoke to previously mentioned that we could get a free hosting service if my website doesn't have enough traffic. Do you know any hosting services like this?
So there are free hosting services out there. I don't recommend any of them. If you want something that works and you actually get support, you're going to need to pay. Like I said, Known Host is one of the, in my opinion, the better hosting providers. There's a ton of different hosting providers. A lot of them are really big companies though, so they don't offer really great support. Known Host is kind of like a mid-level, so you're going to get more personalized attention. And for the price, I really recommend them. I don't recommend anything free because it's just not going to be, there's not going to be any support when you need it, and the service is not going to be as good.
Awesome. Luann would like to know, do you recommend any particular themes for consulting business?
So I don't recommend any theme other than the Hello theme, but when you install Elementor, what we're going to talk about later on in this series is all those different templates that they offer. So I know for a fact that they have several templates for consulting specifically. What's really cool about Elementor is that they are always updating their themes and templates, so you can install those and then customize them. So you can really do whatever you want. And later on in the series, when we actually get to building the website, you'll see what I mean and how much flexibility there is with the design. So you can make a completely customized website for your business instead of using a theme.
Okay, do you have any step-by-step book guides for beginners that you could recommend for some of the viewers to get a copy of?
I don't have any book recommendations because the problem with books is that they become outdated very quickly, but I can recommend a few different people on YouTube that do really great work, and they will have up-to-date information. So let me actually go to a couple of these different people. So the person that I really recommend is WP Toots. He is wonderful. He has almost 100,000 subscribers. This is his channel. He has a lot of great information on WordPress specifically. Really whatever you're trying to do with a WordPress site, whether it's set up an online store or set up some kind of custom functionality, he's a really great person to follow. I've learned a ton from him, and he has stuff for like every level. So if you are a beginner, then you will be able to really learn step by step how to do things with his tutorial. So I highly recommend him.
Awesome. Elizabeth would like to know, is it difficult, possible, or easy to switch from GoDaddy to Known Host?
So it's not difficult, it's definitely possible. And the easiest way is to just contact Known Host directly and say, hey, I have a website on GoDaddy, and they should be able to do it for you. I don't know what the fees are regarding that. I think it depends on how big the website is, but I know that they can walk you through it because we've actually had several clients that have made that switch and they said it was wonderful.
Awesome. Cindy said, I am converting an existing website from Weebly. Any hints?
So if you have a Weebly website, and you want to build your website on WordPress, you're really going to have to recreate everything. That's the problem with the closed platforms, is that you don't actually own the files or anything. So with WordPress, since it's open source, you can move. So you can move from GoDaddy to a Known Host. You can take all the files, download them, and have it forever. Whereas with Weebly, you're kind of limited to what they can offer, and you don't actually get those files. So you're gonna, unfortunately, if you're looking to rebuild it on WordPress, have to start over from scratch.
Is that the same case with Wix? So somebody
Yeah.
had a similar question?
Yes.
Okay.
Wix, Squarespace, all those closed platforms. Yeah, if you want to build it on WordPress, you can't actually like download all the files and recreate the same site, unfortunately.
Awesome. So Carl, he asked the question, is the Gutenberg page editor available yet? And is it free?
Yes, it is available. It's automatically installed in the WordPress framework, but it's not that great. I'm just going to be honest. It's not nearly as robust as like an Elementor page builder is. You can definitely use it to build a website, but it's not going to give you the functionality that some of the other builders will give you.
All right. So Carl, he also wanted to know, do you see any value of sticking with just one theme? Because it seems like you tend to customize and mix and match between the different, I guess, themes found in Elementor. So do you see any value with just sticking with one, or, should you continue to like mix and match between themes?
It really depends on what you're looking to do. So the reason that I like using Elementor so much is that there's so much customization available. So generally, I will design everything from scratch, but I'm a website designer, so I know how to design. But if you are somebody that doesn't have that background and you're looking to create a nice looking website and do it for a pretty affordable price, you can use these different templates that are available. What's nice is that a lot of the templates will work really well with each other. So they'll have a template for a home page, and then they'll have a template for an about page that looks really similar, so that you can kind of mix and match. You can customize things to however you want, and you can really just get in there and design a site exactly to your specification. So it is a really good platform for that.
All right. So it looks like Laura has a question. She wanted to know, how do I edit my page in WordPress?
So that's going to be something that we talk about more in the next webinar, just really going in and editing your page. But basically, if you have a WordPress site installed already, you're just going to go to pages and then click on whatever page that you want to edit, and it'll pull up the WordPress editor. We're going to get into a lot more detail regarding that and how to edit using the Elementor page builder versus just what's available within WordPress standard in the box. So that's going to be kind of part 2.
Okay, awesome. John wanted to know if you could do just like a quick difference between WordPress.org and WordPress.com.
Yes, so WordPress.org is where you go to download the free WordPress framework. So the WordPress framework is what is the open source that everybody is contributing to. You can download that and install that anywhere, and that's what we would be using if we were going to compare the two. Now, WordPress.com is like WordPress' own solution to like almost like a closed platform. So they're kind of trying to compete with like a Squarespace or a Wix. So you go sign up at WordPress.com for a WordPress site, and then you pay a monthly fee to keep that site up and running. You don't get as many features with WordPress.com because they are closing off some of the things. So you don't get as many themes, you don't get as many plugins available. But with WordPress.org, you can do anything that you want. That's really like the main difference. I know it is a little confusing because they're both named the same thing. They just have a different domain extension. That's something that I get asked a lot.
Awesome. With the known hosts, do they offer domain names?
Yes. Yeah, you can register your domain name through known host, and you can set up hosting. And I recommend doing that if you don't have a domain name. Just do it in one place, so you don't have to really worry about, okay, I registered my domain name here, but my hosting is in another place. It's just easier to keep everything in one place.
Okay. And then what about known host compared to Bluehost? Like, what's the difference?
I do not recommend using Bluehost at all. I think they are one of the worst. If I'm being frank, they're one of the worst WordPress hostings available. They offer horrible support, and their websites are just really slow because you're on a platform with thousands of other websites. So I can't recommend using them. I think they are a little bit cheaper, but you're you really kind of get what you pay for. And if you run into problems, you're not going to get help.
So someone made a comment in regards to this, and they said, my starting site is hosted on Bluehost, and it came with Jetpack, WordPress plugin. Would I need the first 3 plugins that you recommended?
So Jetpack is, so knowing the Bluehost platform, when they install WordPress sites, they install Jetpack a lot of the times on the site, and that gives you some extra functionality. It's not something that you really need. In fact, I would just recommend deactivating that, because most of the plugins in Jetpack kind of slow your site down. That's something that we'll kind of talk about later down the road. Actually in part 3 is to like how to maintain plugins and stuff. Yeah, that's something that Bluehost does as kind of like part of their WordPress hosting service. They'll install separate plugins and different themes that you don't really need, just to kind of get you started. But I think they kind of hurt more than help your site.
Okay. So for the folks that are using GoDaddy and Wix and all the other ones, do you think that, well, would you recommend them changing over to WordPress?
I mean, it really depends on what they're looking to do. If they're happy with their website and it's working for them, they don't have any problems with it, then I would keep it where it's at. If you're looking to do more advanced functionality, or you're just not happy with what you have, then I would consider making the switch. It's really just kind of where you're at in the process. I know plenty of people that have websites on like Squarespace and Wix that are totally fine with them, and they don't need to have any like advanced functionality. But if you are trying to do something that's outside of that box that they offer, then I do think WordPress is the way to go.
Okay. So someone made a comment. They said they are currently using a theorem that is offered by WordPress, and they would like to know, do they still need to use the Eliminator install? THREM, I could have pronounced that.
THREM.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
Appleleaf, if you could just throw like maybe the correct spelling of the name, or just elaborate on that a little more, we can get that question answered for you, okay? Cindy would like to know for next week, should we have all the basics in place, purchased and set up, etc.?
Yeah, I think that if you're ready to build your website, it's good. Yeah, it would be good to have everything purchased and set up, so that way you can follow along in the process, because next week I am going to be editing a live site. So I'm going to show you exactly where you need to go to make edits, how the Elementor editor works, and all of that. So you'll be able to follow along with your own website.
Awesome. Let's see. It looks like Elementary wants a domain name. How do I get around this to practice?
Install the free version. You shouldn't have to have the domain. So the domain name, I believe, is only for the pro accounts. You have to connect your domain name just because it requires a license. But if you install a free version, you should be able to play around with it and use it and get a feel for how it works. As far as I know, unless they changed that recently, but I'm pretty sure the free version, you can just do everything.
Okay, so Luann made a comment. She said, would it be helpful to plan exactly what you want by page?
Yes, it definitely would. And we're going to go over that next week as to what you need to do and what you need to think about before you actually go in and design your pages. But if you already have an idea of what you want on your website, it's definitely helpful to start thinking about what pages you want and the content that you want on those pages.
Awesome. So if you see a website well designed, how can you tell if it is also using WordPress?
So I mentioned a little bit before that there is a website. I think if you just Google, where is my website built, or where is this website built, you can put in any URL and it will tell you if a website is on WordPress. So that's a way that you can kind of spy and see what builder it's using.
Will Elementor or Divi slow down your web page speed?
It can, and that really depends on how many plugins and what you have on your website. So yeah, you're adding a plugin to your site. Anytime you add anything, you're calling extra scripts, and that can slow your site down. There are ways to optimize your website so that you don't have to worry about that. And we're going to talk about that more in part 2 and part 3.
Awesome. So Laura indicated it still asks for one. Laura, I would just recommend you join us for part 2 of the WordPress webinar. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that again. She's saying that it's still asking her for one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really answer unless I see it. So if you want to just reach out to me directly, feel free. You can go to my website and fill out the contact form if you're having issues with it. They might have changed the way that they do things. I know that they recently made an update, so maybe they changed the way that they're doing things.
Okay, and let's see here. So Apple Leaf wanted to know, so he's elaborating, or she, I'm so sorry if I got your pronoun wrong. My question is, since WordPress already offers themes, why do I still need to install Elementor?
Because Elementor isn't a theme, it's a page builder. So we're actually going to be designing our site with Elementor. We're not going to really be using much of the theme. So that's, like I said in the presentation, the Hello theme is a very basic bare bones theme. There really isn't much to it. And that's because we are going to be designing the site using the Elementor page builder. So that kind of overtakes all of the theme settings and everything and lets us do whatever we want.
Alrighty. Looks like, I'm pretty sure you touched on this. If you see, oh yeah, we did that. Looks like we have one more. So I may take recommendations and switch from Bluehost to KnownHost. Did you say that KnownHost could walk me through this? My site is really new, so I don't have anything set up yet.
So if your site is brand new and you don't have anything on it, you can probably just have them kind of transfer over whatever you do have on there. Yeah, they can definitely walk you through it. I'm pretty sure that they have a service that will transfer from Bluehost to KnownHost or any other hosting platform. I know they work with a bunch of different ones. So I would just contact them and see what they recommend doing and see how they can help. They're really responsive. One of the most, I think, responsive hosting companies out there.
Can the $0 version of Elementor be used?
So yeah, we can definitely, you can install that and use that, but I am going to go over specific features that are in the pro version only. So the marketing integrations, the pop-up windows and stuff like that are not available in the free version. So you can install the free version, play around with it and get a feel for it and design a perfectly fine website, but you won't have all the additional marketing integration.
Okay, so Carl would like to know if you were to use WordPress.com and pay for that, is that taking the place of a host service like KnownHost or Bluehost?
Yeah, so with WordPress.com, they're hosting your WordPress site for you. So that's the difference between .com and .org is that they're actually hosting all the files for you and you pay a monthly fee to them.
All right, so that looks like those are all the questions in the Q&A. How much time do we have left? It looks like we still have a little bit more time. So if anyone else has any questions, please go ahead and post them in the Q&A.
It looks like we have one. Are you? It's known, KNOWN.
And again, a copy of this PowerPoint and recording will be shared with you 3 to 5 business days after this webinar. Barbara, she managed to get a lot of the links within the actual presentation. So you will be able to get a lot of that information from the PowerPoint. It looks like we got some more questions coming in. Can we switch from WordPress.com to WordPress.org?
Yes. So you can do that if you have a site on .com. You can switch it to .org.
Awesome. Will you be going over how to install SSL?
No, I'm not going to be going over that. That's something that you have to do with your hosting company. So with Known Host, it's included. If you already have a hosting company and you don't have SSL, you're going to have to contact them and see if they offer it for free. Some do, some you have to pay for. It really just depends on the company.
Alrighty. Any security concerns using the org versus the com version?
The security is really, it goes back to just making sure that you're installing vetted plugins that have good downloads, and you're keeping things up to date. That can happen on WordPress.com too, because they're not going in and managing your site for you. So you just really have to stay on top of everything. And as long as you do that, you shouldn't really have to worry much about security issues. If the site is using good themes and good plugins, you should be fine.
So Luann made a comment. She said Elementor Pro version and WordPress.org Hello theme free version.
Yep, that's what you'll be using. That's what we're going to be using moving forward.
Okay, so that's a question. Is WP.com good for nonprofit, or is WP.org better? How do I get started to create a site called Known Host?
So I always just recommend doing the .org version, because it doesn't matter with what type of business you have, if it's a nonprofit or small business, whatever. .org is going to give you more options than .com, because .com is just the closed like hosting platform that WordPress offers. With .org, you can host your website anywhere. So I would just go with the .org version. If you don't have anything set up, I would just follow the instructions that I said. Go to Known Host, get your domain registered and your hosting set up through them, and they should be able to take care of everything for you.
All right, so just to let everyone know, the next, part 2 of this webinar will be on May 13th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Following that, we will have another session on May 20th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then if you just give me a minute here shortly, I will get those links in the chat for you, okay? That looks like it. All right, so, well, I'm gonna put those links in the chat for everyone so you can go ahead and sign up for part 2 of the webinar. So the first link that I put in the chat will be for the second session on the 13th. So there's that one. And then the next link that I put in the chat will be for the session on the 20th. So please make sure you grab those links before we end the webinar here. We would like to thank Barbara so much for her time and all the information that she shared with us today. Barbara, I know you need a drink of water. Those were a lot of questions that was coming through the chat there, but that just lets you know that so many people are interested in WordPress. So we truly appreciate you doing the webinar today. You did a great job. You handled those questions like a champ. Again, the presentation will be sent out to you all within 3 to 5 business days. Barbara indicated that if you had specific questions, you could reach out to her. I think it was Facebook and
Just go to my website, wikidesign.com, and
okay.
fill out the contact form. If you have a question about something specific, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, awesome. Well, Barbara, all the thanks are coming in the chat and coming in the Q&A now. Well, any last minute words for the viewers, or should they just wait until session 2 on the 13th?
Yeah, get ready for next week. And thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys learned something.
Thank you, Barbara. We'll see you next time, okay?
Bye.
Bye-bye.